Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl Jazz. So we are back for another video where I am dissecting, and we are discussing today. We're discussing season 5, the picture that was sent to Fatima by Angela of Zach and Karen. The angle looked like they were kissing each other. Of course, we as the viewers know that they weren't kissing each other. They were actually hugging. They were hugging. And so I'm sorry, she didn't get sent the picture. Somebody sent the picture to Angela. Angela pulled up on Fatima and was like, hey, are you and Zach still together? Which, let's talk about that. Because if you my best friend, how do you not know that we're still together? So that's red flag number one. Angela was being messy. Now, I appreciate Angela coming to Fatima on some, hey, you know, is everything okay between you and Zach? But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about that, because I think Angela was being messy. And I also don't think that work was the place to discuss that. If anything, they should have discussed that at home. You know, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear nothing about my dude at work, because I'll be thinking about that all day. And as you can see, Fatima didn't get nothing done at work. She didn't do none of the case files or anything that Andy, her boss, asked her to do. Andy had been calling her all day. You know, she was distracted all day. You know what I'm saying? So Angela should not have asked her Angela should not have shown her that picture, because that's all Fatima thought about all day. You know, she was distracted. She came up with her own conclusions about what happened with that picture. And if you look at that scene, she started bashing Zach because she was mad. Like, and let me tell y'all what I mean by that. Because she was mad, and because she started putting her own pieces together about something that she didn't even know happened. Angela was trying to be neutral about it. Even after she showed her the picture, she was like, okay, well, you know, maybe this is an old picture. You know, let's not think, you know, since you say everything is good between y'all, and I'm paraphrasing, but, you know, she was like, okay, well, since you say everything is good between y'all, and since you say y'all are still together, maybe they sent me maybe this picture is old, or, you know, maybe this picture is old. You know, maybe the person that sent it to me was just being messy, right? And Fatima was like, no, because he had that suit on today. He ain't had nothing before a couple of weeks ago. Fatima, no, don't do that. You know, if anything, Fatima could have shut that down she could have shut her friend down. Like, you know what, I'm sure it's nothing, even though she's boiling on the inside. Never let your left hand know what your right hand, that's the word. Never let your left hand know what your right hand doing. That's the word of God. Never let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. She could have shut Angela down by being like, you know what, I'm pretty sure it's nothing. And if it is, me and Zach, I'll handle it with Zach when I get home. Boom. Boom. And she didn't have to say nothing else about it. Right? So, but she was, you know, she was mad, but at the same time, it's also okay to have people in your life where you can be your full self. You can have, you know, your feelings are your feelings. You can be mad, you can scream, you can be angry and things. So I'm glad that Fatima has that with Angela as well as Andy. So although I think that work just should not have been the place to do that, because Fatima was done for the rest of the day. She was done for the rest of the day. She didn't get no work done that day. And yeah, Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. So that happened. She was talking to Andy about it, and then she told Andy not to tell Karen about the picture and stuff because she was mad. You know, she was like, "No, something did happen between them because I've been calling Zach and Zach ain't answered, and that's guilt. He guilty." I'm like, oh my God, Fatima, don't you do this to yourself, sis. Don't go down this rabbit hole. You are going to drive yourself insane coming up with scenarios that are not there, baby. Do not do this to yourself. Please, honey. Please don't do this. Don't you do this to yourself. And I think us women are, if you know, you know. Like, do not do this to yourself. Please. You are not going to know the truth until you talk to him. So before you take yourself down this dark hole, this black hole, down this rabbit hole, talk to him. Okay? So she talked to him, and then there was a scene where she was in front of the house, and she was sitting in the car, and you could tell she was mad. Like you could tell she was steaming how she was mad, and he was there, right? And this was like towards the end of the episode, before the huge blowout, when she put the picture in his face. She was like, "What the F is this?" Right? And he was like, I don't know, like I don't know who took that picture, and it pissed her off even more because you could tell, like, if you watch that scene, you could tell that it pissed her off even more because she going off and he calm. And she going off and he like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know who took that picture. And he was like, Fatima, look at the angle. Going back watching these episodes, and shout out to I don't know the person's name who asked me to review this particular episode and review them fighting over the picture and at the steam plant. But thank you so much, because going back and watching these episodes are hilarious. But he said, Fatima, look at the angle. I'm looking at it. Oh my gosh. She said, I'm looking at it. No, you wasn't. Because if you would, you calm down. He said, I did not kiss her. I hugged her. Because we were talking about the papers, and she called me in the back so we could talk about the papers. And then he realized that then he started spazzing. And then he went down the whole rabbit hole, thinking that Karen did it on purpose to get some, and hugged him and was being nice to him on purpose to get somebody to send a picture to her to make her mad. So now you got two people that's going down rabbit holes that are being irrational. And Zach and Fatima both irrational at the same time is not a good thing. And we've seen this. We've seen what happens when both Zach and Fatima are irrational. When they're both mad, it is not a good thing at all. Somebody has to be the adult. And I think I've said this before. Somebody has to be the adult. Somebody has to be the adult. And at first, Zach was trying to be the adult in the situation, but then he went down the rabbit hole, and now they're both in this rabbit hole, in this stuck, secluded rabbit hole, and they both spazzing and they both mad. And so he leaves the house, and she was like, no, we're not done talking. I'm not done talking to you. And so she grabs his arm, and he had to remind her, and to be honest, this actually was one of my favorite parts of the scene. And let me be clear, not her grabbing his arm, that was not my favorite part of the scene. I do not condone nobody putting their hands on anybody. And I'm going to repeat that for anybody that's listening. I do not condone anybody putting their hands on anybody, okay? Jasmine does not condone anybody putting their hands on anybody, okay? For anybody that's listening. So the reason why this was my favorite part is because Zach reminded her, hey, you remember when we was in the gym and you was mad and you told me to let you go because you was mad. I need you to respect me the exact same way. That's why that was my favorite part. Because in season 5, we saw different sides, different layers of Fatima being pulled back. We saw, Fatima going from frantic to calm. We saw Fatima not wanting to apologize when she was wrong. We saw a whole lot of different layers of Fatima. We saw Fatima being a little bit irrational, if you will. And I know that a lot of it is because Fatima has a lot of trauma from her last relationship. And it honestly showed. It's showing, and she said it. There's a lot of stuff going on between Zach and Karen that's triggering, and she be trying to pray it away, she be trying to meditate it away, all the things, right? And so Zach had to remind, Zach in this particular episode, Zach reminded her, hey, a lot of the stuff that I do, you be doing the same stuff. And one thing that I've noticed about Fatima, specifically in season 5, Fatima don't like to be called out on her stuff, right? So, and this was one of those moments. Zach was like, hey, you remember in the gym when I made you so mad that you threatened me, you told me that you was about to blow this gym up, and you told me, hey, you need to let me go because you see red and all of this stuff. Yeah, I'm finna see red and you need to let me go. And I need you to respect the fact that I'm pissed off right now too. You need to let me go before the exact same way. I need you to respect me the same way that you want me to respect you when you mad. And she listened. She didn't like it, but she listened. So that happened. Later on, her and Angela was at the house, and she was like, I didn't even get a chance to say nothing to him about it. I didn't get a chance to let him know that you are the one who sent me the picture because he was so mad, and she was like, well, he at the steam plant now. I'm finna go up there. So get to the steam plant. Zach and Aaron are fighting. This is what I want to say. This is what I want to say about Zach actually going to the steam plant, because somebody asked me to talk about this too, about him actually going to the steam plant to confront Karen. Excuse me, about him confronting Karen. Karen actually could have left. She actually could have told him on the phone, hey, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, and stuff. But she actually could have told Aaron, because Aaron was like, hey, if Zach is coming up here on, on that rah-rah stuff, we actually can leave, But Karen actually wanted him to come up there because she wanted to see him in a reactive, pissed off state, because she actually likes that. And this is what's not talked about. People are always talking about how Zach is wrong for the things that he does, which he is. Zach was 1000% wrong for coming in their restaurant, getting all in Karen's face, grabbing on him. Grabbing on her, yelling out in her face. Because at the end of the day, Zach is a whole man. She's a whole woman. He was 1000% wrong for doing all of that in front of all them people, behaving like that. He should not have done that. So, and I stand behind that. He should not have done all of that. But what's also not talked about is the fact that Karen wanted him to do that, because she likes seeing him like that. She likes seeing him mad. She likes seeing him in that state, And she liked seeing, and y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. She liked seeing him like that, seeing him mad, seeing him angry, because in her mind, any type of reaction or any type of interaction that she has with Zach is better than him not talking to her at all. In her mind, in the state of mind that she was in at that time, any type of interaction, whether he was mad, pissed off, fussing, cussing, whatever, in her mind, at least he was talking to her. So she'll take what she can get. She'll take them however she could get them. Does that make sense? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Now, he was wrong. He was 1,000% wrong, and he should not have done that. And Zach needs to learn to control his emotions a whole lot better. Nobody can help him do that except for him. Fatima can't even help him do that. Zach is responsible for Zach. And at that time, I don't know if Zach was in therapy at that time. I don't think he was. But that is 100% all on Zach. Zach needed to do the work. Zach needed to. So anyway. So Zach came up, in the scene plan doing all of that. And of course, I may not be a fan. I may not be a fan of Aaron all the time. But I'm not mad at Aaron for being like, hey, yo, you need to get out her face like that. You need to quit talking to her like that. Hey, you need to back up. You don't put your hands on her like that, right? I'm not mad at Aaron for doing that. So, especially if Aaron and Karen was gonna have some type of relationship, Aaron, I would have side-eyed Aaron if he would have just sat there and not said nothing if he saw a man getting all up in Karen's face, grabbing on her and all of that stuff, and he would have just sat there idle and not said a word. You know what I'm saying? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. But anywho, so Zach and Aaron ended up fighting. Of course, y'all see the episode. Zach and Aaron ended up fighting. And again, two things could be true at the same time. Karen does like that. Karen does like that kind of stuff. She liked Aaron and Zach fighting over her. That was an ego boost for her. She liked it, right? And Fatima came. They Aaron talking about, hey, come on, Zach, man. Fatima said stop. You know how bad you gotta be getting your tail busted for you to yell. Hey, man, your woman said stop. Oh my Lord. Oh God. And what's funny is Fatima stood on that sideline and said, come on, Zach, get up, Zach. She was mad at him, but she wanted him to win the fight. Oh, hey man, say man, that fight was funny. I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. And the way we lit Twitter up during that fight. Oh man. Y'all, I'm gonna give y'all some homework. Go on Twitter. Please go on Twitter and look up Sisters Steam Fight. I'm sorry, Steam Fight. Steam Fight is wild. Steam Plant comments. We had Twitter in shambles during that fight. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Oh Jesus Christ. We used to have so much fun. There is no community like the sisters community, especially back during that, I think, what was that, 2023? Oh my gosh, good times. Anyway, so Zach gets home, and Zach and Fatima get home, and then Fatima automatically gets, and this is, I'm not a part of the, I don't think I align myself with the team Fatima team. I don't align myself with the quote unquote team. I'm just a fan of the show. But this is something that the Karen fans do talk about, is the fact that Zach gets with these women who tries to who mothers him. And it's because he, of course we know that it's because of trauma and things like that. But as soon as Zach and Fatima got home, of course she fixed his hand and and stuff like that, and then she automatically went into fussing at him. Look at you, you're proud of yourself. Look at you, look, all of that, right? And she was like, why were you fighting? Why did you do all of that? And and stuff like that, right? And so he was like, and she was like, no, you need to be honest with yourself, and you need to admit that you was fighting him because you're still in love with Karen and stuff. And my whole thing is, Fatima, if you really believe that, if you believe in your heart of hearts that he truly is in love, and this is what I believed at the time, if you truly believe in your heart of hearts that he is in love with another woman, then just go ahead and go. Do that, right? But he was like, no, I really did fight him because he always got something to say to me. And this is where the communication piece with Zach and Fatima is missed, because I don't think that Zach told Fatima the entire story of Aaron. The fact that Aaron really does always have something to say to Zach, because if he did, I don't think she would have made those comments. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Right? So then he was like, and she was like, you have a record, you don't need to be fighting like that, and and all of this stuff. She was like, well, you gonna go back to jail and all of this. And so Zach, in his frustration, was like, let me ask you a question. How is it that you get to put chicks' head through walls, you get to trash people's houses, every time you get pissed off, you get to people almost die, and you get to do all of this stuff when you mad, but when I do it, I get berated like a child? I'm not gonna lie, Zach ate with it, because it's the truth. And I love Fatima. But when Fatima get mad, or when Fatima want to flex, she get to do all of these things and nothing happens. And of course, on the sister side, and let's be real, Fatima, and I don't think I've said this. I think I have, but one thing that's not talked about is Fatima has the means, she has the resources, and and not only does she have the resources on the legal side, but she also has the resources on the quote unquote underworld side. Zach don't have that. But she was like, well, as I said, you have a record, I don't have a record. And he was like, he said, I don't know how. I said, God, dog, Zach. But he didn't lie. And he was like, I don't know how, because you worse than me. I said, oh my God, Zach. He said, I don't know how, you worse than me. And he was like, man, I'm not dealing with this. I'm going to bed. And hey, this blowout between them actually needed to happen, because he said some stuff that she needed to hear. She said some stuff that she needed to hear. But what should not have happened though, she talking about, yep, you going to bed on this couch. Now, sis, you not finna put no man on the couch in his house now. So he was like, I'm not sleeping on no couch in my house. And here's what's not talked about. Zach has never had anything that's his, that he owned. He was always sleeping on somebody's couch, in somebody else's bed. And he never had anything of his, you know what I'm saying, that was his, that he owned. So for her, and I personally think that that's something that he should have conveyed to her. So for her to say, you gonna sleep on this couch, I think that hit kind of different, because I think to him that's like, no, you not finna tell me that I'm gonna sleep on my own couch in my own house, when I've gone from living sofa to sofa, pillow to post. You're not finna do that. So I think that when she said that kind of sunned him a little bit, and I think that's why he said, y'all let me know what y'all think. I personally think that's why he said, I'm not sleeping on no couch in my own house. I don't think it had anything to do with him trying to control her. I don't think it had anything to do with her at all. That was all him. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. But I think because Fatima was always looking for a reason to leave and a reason to run anyway, she took it like that. I think they both have abandonment issues anyway, that they both need to deal with. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. And she automatically went to, if you think I can't find nowhere to sleep, if you think I can't find another bed to sleep in, then you tripping. Why would you tell your fiance that? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? How much is he your fiance if you have to tell him that it's easy for you to find somewhere else to sleep in? You proud of that? Like, what are we doing? Why would you do that, Fatima? But anywho, so they had a huge blowout or whatever, and he was like, I deal with everybody BS all the time. I got to deal with Helen, her BS. I got to deal with Karen, her BS. Now I got to come here and I got to deal with you sticking photos in my face. He said, I ain't kissed that prom. I said, oh my God. And so yeah, that's what happened. But yeah, she ended up, she mushed him in his face, and of course I definitely had an issue with that. I absolutely had an issue with that. I did not like that. Of course, I do not subscribe to anybody putting their hands on anybody. I did not like that. And she ended up going to Andy's house. When Karen did tell her that it was not her that sent the picture, when she told her that she hugged and kissed Zach on the cheek to thank him for the child support offer. So as soon as Fatima went home after having that exchange with Karen, because she decided to go back home. She decided to go back home. She was going to spend the night with Andy, but she decided to go back home after having that exchange with Karen or whatever. I think that she should have apologized to Zach. Now, as soon as she got in, and Zach did sleep on the couch because he was waiting on Fatima to come back. But as soon as she got in, she was like, I just came to get some things or whatever. She was lying. But I think when he apologized to her about, making the my house comment or whatever, she was like, you know how I felt, I was real apprehensive about moving in the first place because, I like having my own stuff or whatever. He apologized about that. He was like, you know, I didn't mean to make it seem like, you know, I didn't mean to make it seem like that. I didn't mean to make it seem like this wasn't your house too. There was no apology from her. You know, he apologized, but she didn't. And there were some things that she did that she should have apologized. She should have apologized for putting her hands on him, and she didn't. And she should have apologized for that. But yeah. Yep. So I wanted to talk about that scene. Those two, I kind of put a whole bunch of scenes in it together, but y'all let me know what y'all think, and we can get down to the nitty-gritty in the comments. I have one more video uploading today, and we can discuss that too. You guys have a good one. I love y'all in real life.